Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today as I decide, or as I describe, not decide, a little more about ethically non-monogamous relationship and what are the different relationship styles. So honestly, there's a bunch that I could show you and teach you about, and the reality is, um, not all of them are going to look exactly like this, but I have come up with some fun terms and phrases to explain the different styles based on the work I've done with clients. So the terms I'm going to use for today to explore the different relationship styles are friendlies, flirty friends, Frenchy friends, freeballing friends, fondling friends, fucking, and fucking friends. And again, so I'm a sex therapist. For those of you who have not met me before, I'm a couples and a sex therapist. And I spend a lot of time working on different issues related to sex and sexualities with couples. And one of the issues that I deal with pretty frequently is couples who are opening up their relationship, interested in becoming ethically non-monogamous, particularly couples who are wanting to do it together sometimes, but not always. Sometimes couples who want to do it separately in a more sort of polyamorous sort of way. So these terms are not like regularly used or expressly used other than in my office, but they are helpful ways to kind of understand what's going on, why we do what we do, and why I teach them in this way. So what are friendlies? Friendlies are essentially people who, like the boundaries around a friendlies relationship are when you are basically similar to normal friends or vanilla friends, right? So if you are in a friendship with somebody that you're meeting like a chamber of commerce and you're in the friendlies category, you're friendly, you give eye contact, you'll say hello, you might do a hug or a fist bump, but it's very friendly in nature. There's not any sexual energy associated with this connection. It's just very friendly. Like, hey, I'm being friendly. I'm letting you know I'm giving you attention, but I'm keeping it in the friendly space. A lot of times people in the friendlies category are not doing much touch. Not much touch at all, actually. If there is touch, it's very low key and it's very friendly. Why I use this term is that usually people will go to different events and try different things. Like, for example, they might go to a lifestyle event or a polyamorous event or a munch of some sort. A munch is, for those of you listening who've never heard of a munch is where people come together just in a sort of friendly, networking sort of environment, kind of like sexy networking, where you're getting to know people who have similar like-minded interests, but are basically not sure yet that they want to have sex with you or be sexual in any sort of way. So when you go to an event like this, you are starting with people in a friendly sort of way. Not any more than that. You're just getting to know people. You're treating people like people. Now, this is the thing. Based on the pacing of the people in these events, some people have been in the lifestyle or in the polyamorous community for a very long time. So their pacing may be a lot faster than yours. So if you're a newbie, it's okay for you to take your own pace. Just understand that other people might be faster in pace than you, and you have a right to have your own consent and boundaries, but there is different pacing based on how much people have spent in different E&M communities, and that means ethically non-monogamous. And there is a difference in, say, how people choose to engage. So the next category of friendship is flirty friends. And so when somebody starts getting a little more flirty in their friendship, they're going to keep giving you attention, but it's going to look just a little different, right? So the eyes may be a little more like, hey, I'm letting you know I'm looking at you. See these eyes? They're kind of more like sexual attention eyes, like, I'm interested. What do you have to say? Oh. I know, I'm being silly, but I'm not, right? Like these are more flirty eyes, and they're just a little more intentional. Or in my language, I might be a little more flowery, or I might be more complimentary, right? Like, ooh, your hair is so nice. So there's friendly, ooh, your hair is nice. That's friendly. And then there's flirty, which is like, ooh, your hair is beautiful. Like it's a little, the voice is a little more drawn out. It's a little quieter, a little more something, like that's flirtiness in language. So if you go to one of these events, you don't have to become a flirty friend. You can stay in your friendly space for a really long time if you like. Like there are people who literally go to events multiple times just as friendly observers. They'll talk to people, they'll make friends, but they really aren't trying to move anything forward other than get used to being in a space where other people, other like-minded individuals are there. But when you're in a flirty friends space, it's There might be a little more handsiness. Maybe somebody puts their hand on your back. Maybe you put your hand on somebody's back. Again, like the back, if you think of the low back, it's not meant to be, I mean, I wouldn't do that with a friend. I'd do it with a flirty friend, right? Or, like when you're trying to spend a little more connection and intimacy with a person, you're touching in a way that you're trying to show, like, I'm interested, I'm more engaged, I like you a little bit, right? You'll find the touch is a little more intentional, right? So somebody might put their hand in your hair and be like, oh, make an excuse to touch you, for example, like, oh, there's something in your hair, but they're trying to get close to you. That's that flirty friend space. Now, again, please understand, these terms are my terms. They aren't frequently used in that world, not because I don't think they're good terms, but because I like to categorize things and put things in boxes just as a therapist and as a person. So I came up with these to help my clients figure out, oh, this is what's happening. We're in the flirty friends space. Now, I do want you to understand you have a right to consent at any time or remove consent at any time. So if you are in a flirty friends space with somebody and it just isn't feeling right, you're allowed to say, hey, I'm not interested, or step away, take an excuse to go to the bathroom and just, run away, never be in their purview again. That's all allowed. But you can also just communicate to them, hey, I'm just not interested. So I just want everybody to understand that that's okay. And if you want to be a little more overt in your consent creating with a person, you can explain what you think flirty friends is and ask if somebody wants to be your flirty friend. It's going to actually be kind of fun to be like, yeah, it's just where we get a little handsy, we get a little more sexual, but like just in a low-key casual sort of way. And I was just curious if you would be interested in getting a little more flirty with me. So that's flirty friends. Now a step above that is Frenchy friends. Frenchy friends, I think if you don't know what it is, it's basically you make out with the person, right? And you may just do it every now and then when you see them. You may do it as a build-up. You may have lots of Frenchy time, right? But so why, again, I came up with some of these terms is that some people aren't as fast as others, right? So people who've been in the lifestyle or in the polyamorous community sometimes are quicker to move through these friend zones with people they like. But there are other people who are very slow to warm and may still like somebody or be interested, but need like sort of a leveling up. So I kind of see it as like leveling up, like a video game. It's like, we're friendlies, now we're flirty friends, now we're Frenchy friends. So again, you do not need to use my categories if they don't make sense, but these are ways to kind of like think about them in your brain. So Frenchy friends are people who make out, and you can be mixed, like you can be both Frenchy friends and flirty friends. You could try the Frenchy friends for one time and you're like, yeah, I'm not ready to kiss people. That's okay. Like some people that becomes a rule for them that they don't actually kiss. And that's all right too. You're allowed to have whatever boundaries you need to have, but these are just ways to kind of level up, I guess. So Frenchy friends is just people who make out. And again, you can ask that overtly, or some people in these events, if it feels like the conversation's going well and things are going smoothly, like there's already kind of touch or flirty friend stuff happening that's being received well, they might move in for a kiss just to see how does that go. But if you're a person who's not ready for a kiss soon, that might be too much for you. So it's okay for you to be like, hey, I'm slow to warm. I'm interested in Frenchy friends at some point or Frenching you at some point. I need to like get used to you as a person first. That's okay. You're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to go at your own pace. And that's actually a big piece of information I want to share with you is please, please, please always go at your own pace. You do not have to go any faster than you're comfortable. There are some people who that's the only kinds of friendships they have in the world is just Frenching friends, and that is okay. So Frenchy friends. The next category that I like to throw out is the freeballing friends, which those are just naked friends. So this category is unique, right? Like first of all, some people are not ever going to be freeballing friends because they just do not feel comfortable being naked. And it's whether it's sexual or not, they're just not going to be that naked around you, right? But there are people who are freeballing friends who are also just nudists. So nudists are their own ball game. Something to understand about a nudist is they may or may not have any interest in like ethical non-monogamous things. They may be a completely monogamous person, and really they are only friendly people that like to be naked. That's your freeballing friends. So for everyone listening into the freeballing friends situation, there are friends in the ethical non-monogamous world who will love to be both sexual and naked. And then there are friends that are only friendlies that like being naked. And it is very important to know the difference and to ask overtly what their difference is so that they feel comfortable and you're not pushing anyone past their boundaries. But also, when you know people's boundaries, you feel safer to play. Just the whole point, right? To play and have fun. So, so nudity is one of those, it can go anyway. There's people who are ethically non-monogamous who like to be naked and who don't like to be naked. There are people who are nudists or freeballing friends who just like to be naked and have no interest in any part of that world, and that is okay. So that's your freeballing friends. Then there's fondling friends. And so it's funny, you've probably heard of the phrase soft swap. I consider fondling friends like your soft swap type people where they'll make out, maybe they could do fingering or oral sex of some sort. But basically it's just fondling. Think of like, I don't know, dry humping, like when you were a teenager and you just make out and like touch and grope for hours and hours and hours, like that stuff. That's your fondling friends category. And some people, that's really all they feel comfortable doing. And that's okay too, right? And so usually the actual term they'll use is we're a soft swap couple, or if it's not in the lifestyle, because I'm talking about people in the ethical non-monogamous world who are also polyamorous. They may be interested in doing some sexual things, but they may not want penetration, and that's okay. So all of that needs to be communicated very clearly with your partner. And this is something for people to be understanding of. If you go to an event and you're just learning, okay, what's out there? Nobody's going to go in expecting to be your fondling friend. Like, people still have to treat you like people. You still have to treat them like people. So, like, there is a little bit of, like, talk as friendlies, get to know them, see if they respond to flirty friend stuff. So in the actual world of people doing this, people aren't usually using these terms. They just try things and they see how you respond. I am trying to promote the idea of being more clear with each other so you can just get the consent that you need to feel safe. But, that's me being a sex therapist and caring about your feelings, needs, and safety. So anyhow, with that being said, fondling friends, before somebody becomes a fondling friend, usually there's some kind of date arranged. It's not typically in public, although that can depend on the situation because there are things like hotel takeovers or hotels and resorts that exist in the world where people can become fondling friends in public situations. So that all very much depends on the situation involved, which is why it is important to know, kind of like when you go to events, like, is it more like a munch where it's a meet and greet and you're getting to know people are keeping their clothes on and they're just chatting? Or is it like a hotel takeover where people are going to like get down? And that's a very different experience. And then there's events that are everywhere in between. There's educational events that really are just for you to learn about things, and so on and so forth. So like, do get an idea of where you're going and what it's going to look like so that you have a better experience. So then, of course, fucking friends is a step up, which is basically, having sex with those friends, right? And again, you'd want to make sure that it's clear that that person is interested and wants to have sex with you. You want to make sure that you actually want to have sex with them too. But the other thing to keep in mind about consent is that at any time, at any day, you're allowed to say, nope, that's not going to work for me. I'm not going to do this. So like, even if you had arranged a date to play with somebody or to have sex with somebody, you can still be in that situation in that moment and decide, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't feel comfortable with this. And thank you, but no thank you. That's allowed. It's allowed. It's always allowed to do that. You are allowed to respectfully make a choice that works for you. And actually, that's how you can tell if somebody's a good person for you or not. If like you're in a situation and you're just not in that good spot and you decide, I'm not going to do this tonight. If they respect you and they're like, yeah, no, I only want you to do this if you're having fun, then that's a green flag person because they are the kind of person that only wants to play with you if you want to play and have a good time. And they're not the kind of person who just wants to push you past your boundaries, or they actually care that you have boundaries. So that's fucking friends. Now, I could probably cover like 50 other F words. I like that they all had F words. Some of my clients helped me come up with some of these phrases. But please keep in mind, consent verbally and non-verbally is important, right? So you can look for non-verbal consent by looking at eye contact, looking at bodies. Are bodies open or are they closed and tight? Is somebody getting further away from you and trying to move away? Or is somebody actually like, hey, open, smiling, giving you eye contact back? Like, that's the non-verbal consent you're looking for. But I also suggest you get actual consent. And that's why I came up with these terms, is to give people some clarity around here is what you're asking for. How about you ask for it overtly? And then learn to play in that space and get used to doing that with a person that you're not familiar with. Because guess what? Every time you meet new people, you are still warming to some degree with that person. And even if you like somebody, you may not be ready to fuck them. That's okay. So anyhow, this has been a live stream from Angela Skurtu. I plan to do these once a month. If you would like to watch this, watch future ones, there will be one next month and I will be posting out for when that happens. But if you'd like to see me as a client, I do a lot of work, not just ethical non-monogamous work, but I do sex therapy and couples therapy. So you can visit me at therapistintlouis.com. Please like and subscribe and put your comments below. Thank you, everyone.